Y'all, so far 2025 has not been a kind year for movies. What's up, you guys? It's Jonathan Carter, and today we are going to be talking about Mickey 17.
Everyone asks, what's it feel like to die?
Mickey 17 is Bong Joon-ho's follow-up from Best Picture winner Parasite in 2019. My hottest take, I think, is that Parasite is not that good of a film. The premise of this movie is the Earth is dying and people are leaving the planet to go in search of other planets to colonize, create life there, sustain life, and eventually leave planet Earth. But the interesting premise of this movie that's more than just space travel, the sci-fi, real sci-fi element of it is Robert Pattinson plays this character that is known as an expendable. That is his job title. He basically goes out on the front lines of this expedition and puts his life on the line to be the first one stepping down into planets or doing space work or whatever it is. And there's technology in this universe to upload Robert Pattinson's character's mind, brain, memories, thoughts, and all of that. And then as Robert Pattinson goes through all these crazy scenarios, he eventually dies, and what they do is just reprint another version of him, basically a clone, but it is just him after he's died, upload his memories, and then he's the same person. Hence, Mickey 17, there are 17 versions of him working through this movie. So he is this expendable. He is literally expendable. The team of scientists or of expeditionaries send him out, and he is on the front lines. When he dies, they just reprint him. And that in and of itself is very interesting of a premise. It's very fresh. I don't think anything in a movie has touched on something like that before. So as we jump into this review, please be sure to like and subscribe. That would really help me out a lot. Follow me over on social media, Instagram, TikTok. If you prefer podcast versions of reviews, check me out over on Spotify, where I upload these as a podcast version. That being said, let's jump into the review. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is not a great movie, you guys. That premise that we talked about of Robert Pattinson's character, Mickey, being reprinted and cloned and basically not being able to die is such an interesting idea for a film, and this movie somehow squanders that premise. The whole marketing of this movie is that Robert Pattinson can't die, and eventually there ends up being multiple versions of him. But while the movie does explore that premise in the beginning, it quickly devolves into just kind of this empty narrative that isn't really interested in exploring that premise, but more interested in exploring politics of America, like North American politics, or the politics of the USA. And we'll get more into that in a second, but to have something as interesting as this premise of somebody being cloned and not able to die, and then you market your whole movie as that, and your movie really isn't about that, is just it's very odd, and it's a weird direction to take your story when what you decide to do with your story is not interesting. The best way I can sum up this movie, if you've seen Bong Joon-ho's Snowpiercer, that is a fantastic movie. This is basically Snowpiercer, but in space. Less interesting, less educated, and just so dull. This movie feels like the first kind of draft of Snowpiercer. And for this to be like your next lead out after you've won Best Picture, is pretty rough, but I understand there's a lot of pressure there. But truthfully, truth be told, this movie is just all over the place. So, getting into the America politics, Mark Ruffalo's character in this movie is obviously written to mirror the current president of the United States.
Which body goes first? One at a time is twice the fun.
That is all fine. It's no secret that United States politics are an absolute mess and joke right now, but the movie, unfortunately, Mickey 17, doesn't have anything interesting to say when it comes to its politics. It just feels like an SNL skit of the president. It feels like a parody and ooh, look, this is how I feel about the president, and so I'm just gonna write that character into the movie. But then doesn't have anything to say about it. So that Mark Ruffalo doesn't turn in a bad performance. It's just a very insufferable character and doesn't add anything to the movie, doesn't have anything topical to say. It's just yeah, look, I wrote this president in the movie. Okay, in my opinion, anybody can do that. That's not a hard thing to do, to just literally take a character and put it in a movie, or take a person and put them in a movie as a character. you have to have something to say about it and not just like, here they are, I did it. So I'm fine if they wanted to leave this interesting premise and make it more political, because Bong Joon-ho obviously does that in his movies, Snowpiercer, Parasite. But to leave an interesting premise and then replace it with rundown, mundane, empty politics is just the strangest decision for a film. Saving grace on this one, Robert Pattinson turns in a phenomenal performance, you guys. He is really clearing this way in his career. The Lighthouse, Batman, The Devil All the Time, The Boy and the Heron, all these different characters and voices that he does he is like definitely trying to solidify himself as this A-list, one of the great actors. And I could 100% see him being that. He never ever turns in a bad performance. If you can say one thing about Robert Pattinson, it is that he commits to his roles, y'all. And this movie is no different there. He is phenomenal in this. He gets to play towards the middle end of the movie. He gets to play two versions of himself, so we won't go into spoilers there, but really the contrast between the two characters of himself that Robert Pattinson plays.
That's when everything changed. Multiple.
Truly, truly, truly phenomenal. He is a great, great, great actor. Speaking of actors, other actors in this movie, Toni Collette is here. I love Toni Collette, Sixth Sense, Hereditary. Again, she's fine. She's not really given that much to do. She's the more of the political side as well to the movie. And again, it's just rather empty. It's like kind of insufferable. But, you know, Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette aren't acting terribly. The script just isn't helping them. And the biggest problem here with the actors, I love Steven Yeun is in this movie. I love Steven Yeun. He's not really given anything to do. He's marketed in the movie, but like, again, there's so much in this that this movie is trying to explore and do that everything, it just feels jumbled and nothing has a solid through line and really gets to be explored. And that includes Steven Yeun's character. He shows up and then disappears and then shows up for another 10 minutes and then disappears and then another 10 minutes and then disappears, and just over and over and over a 2 hour and 20 minute film. So wrapping this review up, the verdict, I was incredibly disappointed with Mickey 17. I went into this open-minded, like I said, I don't enjoy Parasite. Maybe I need to give it another viewing, but I liked the premise. I liked the previews for it. I love Robert Pattinson's performances that he turns in. I love Steven Yeun, Toni Collette, and this premise of sci-fi and space travel and seeing other planets and everything like that somehow just feels empty and lifeless, which is so, I don't know how you do that. If you're a fan of this director's work, I don't really even know if you'll like this movie. It just feels so odd, so empty. All that being said, I'm gonna give Mickey 17 a 5 out of 10. And on a see it, stream it, or skip it, skip it. Thanks you guys so much for watching my review. Let me know your thoughts on the movie in the comments. Please be sure to like and subscribe. If you are thrown back with my Parasite take, be sure to check out my top 10 movies of all time over here. I'll link it right here just so you get a better idea of the kind of movies that I'm into. Please be sure to like and subscribe, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, I will see you all on the next one.